in me is happening with everybody outside of me, inside of them. And I've noticed that with those who really, really, really want to understand, they overcome it just like that, out of one counseling session. If you need counseling, you can go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-2663. 800-411-BOND. Best counseling service on this side of heaven. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, he will fight the battle for you. And he will fight it without, because he will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, he will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality.
You know, I'm 32 years old now, and I've been clinically depressed since I was 17 years old. And ever since I started listening to you a couple of months ago, bro, I don't even need to hear the word depression. I don't even care about that, because that's not anything that I identify with anymore.
Nice.
I'm 100% cured. I'm 100% better, because I've been listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I just can't even, begin to tell you how much I really appreciate the things that you're doing for young men. Young men need to hear this, and young men need to know this message that you're delivering, because it's important. It's vital to their lives, Jesse. I just wanted to let you know that, man.
That's amazing. I mean, you made my day, man. When I hear one soul has returned to the Father, it's like 1,000. It's better than silver and gold. So God bless you, man. Steve, thank you for calling and thanks for holding. How have you been helped by the show?
I'm going to tell you this. I believe you might go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, black man that ever lived on planet Earth, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know anybody before you that's been that great. Freeing the slaves is one thing, but you've been freeing people of their mind, which matters, it should be anyhow, to you more than anything else, because with the mind not being right, there ain't nothing else going to happen right anyway.
If you can doubt, isn't Nick a Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in on this fine Monday. What a fine Monday it is to be back with you today. Pleasure to have you back, everybody. I got a bit of a show for you. So allow me to roll in here on this fine Monday. What am I missing here? Welcome, everybody. I'm the American Anchor Baby, and we got to get into it today a bit. We've been betrayed yet again, as they say, right? It's like betrayal, politics. I got another different kind of a betrayal for you. the news with Biden and all that. It's a dog-eat-dog world in a sense, and politics can be a little bit worthless in a sense for that reason. It's not about what's true and what's moral. So it's a dog-eat-dog world, and there's a speculation about Biden, but you remember Tim Walz? Remember his son? Weren't they saying that he had like mental issues? And I was like, hey, this is getting us some kind of vote. This is getting us some brownie points here. Okay, son, you're retarded. Okay, we got to win. We got to win. We got to win. But dad, I don't want to just, but I'm not developmentally disabled. Pardon me. We don't say the R word anymore, right? So it's a dog-eat-dog world, and there's a couple of things about it all. And the betrayal, initially, I didn't even mention, is the Supreme Court. There's the major issue. It's so often at times I'm like, okay, this is the major issue, but let's not think too much on the tiredness I might put out. That's merely my own emotional outburst. That's just being a beta male. So forgive that. But it may get tired. You might feel tired about it. It's really just me. But the main issue, the demographic replacement of America. Okay, Supreme Court has to do with the Alien Enemies Act and deporting people. It's a controversial one. So we'll get into all of it. But appreciate you being here with me today. If you want to call in, I saw calls coming in, 888-775-3773. If you got something on your mind, something you want to talk about, you want to ask what size roller? Is there a size? Is there sizes to those things? I don't know any roller terminology. I just realized. Those things you put in the hair, like granny, like that's the style maybe I'm going for. Granny roll. Yeah, there we go. The curls it's just so immaculate in some cases. You got to wonder, what rollers are you using? Look, I woke up like this, granny style. But, I don't know any roller terminology. Anybody know the lingo? Is it like a diameter thing? Like, what are we talking? Like gauges? What are we talking here? Granny, what's that? Anyway, let's not get too deep into that. Welcome to the show, 888-775-3773. Appreciate everybody here on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, punchy.tv/Anchor Baby. Thanks for making an account. DLive.tv/Gorgonzola, and of course, everybody on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Appreciated. Welcome, everybody. What else here? No, Nick, demographic replacement doesn't matter. I'll get back to you, chat. Let me do things in a somewhat of a reasonable sequence of events here. And you know how we're going to do this, folks. We're going to do it like this. We're doing a call because we got Chase out of Texas who's calling right away. We want to show some love to the calls. Chase, appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Yeah. What's up, Nick?
Welcome, man.
Glad you got to me first. I didn't think you were going to do it, but you got to me first.
I wanted to, a little love to the calls. I'm feeling I got plenty of time today to get into what we need to get into.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, I kind of got a story, and sorry if there's going to be a little bit of background noise. I'm kind of doing some stuff before I take off.
Try and keep it for this call. We'll be here just a short time, right? So try and keep it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I got a story, and this story is I'm not just saying it for the sake of saying it. I'm saying it because it relates to emotional outbursts towards drama. I wouldn't say outbursts, just emotional reactions to dramatic situations that normally you don't stay that level-headed, but I was able to do it, and I was kind of surprised at myself. And so, story's crazy.
Try and be brief, but yeah, give us the details. Yeah. No problem. Appreciate it. So you were able to deal with emotion correctly, you're saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I feel a lot better than, So I got a friend that'll come around, and I'm not real big on like female friends because typically there's always some kind of sexual tension that messes with it. But I got a friend that she comes around, and she's pretty much proved herself to be pretty loyal and very honest. And so I'm like, yeah, you can come around and hang out and stuff. And so I was taking her up to a place up here. It's a game room where they got the computers, games, the gambling stuff. I was taking her up there and dropping her off, and I was just going to hang around for a minute. And as soon as I pull up in the parking lot, she gets out, and then I see some dudes, some black guys walking behind my truck, and he looked kind of not mad. He just looked perturbed, for lack of a better term. And he's walking into the game room, and he comes back out, and I'm just kind of keeping an eye on him. And he starts walking towards my truck. As soon as he sees me, I'm like, oh, I know who this is. I roll my window down, and he walks up to me and says, "Hey, you with Keisha?" I'm like, "Yeah, she just went inside."
Oh, you
said,
knew
okay.
this person, this individual. You actually recognize him.
Well, I recognized him because of his body language, and he was the only person up there that looked kind
the
of like
same guy that was going towards the truck.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He walked back. Yeah. And so, I'm like, yeah, I just figured that was him. He's cool when he talks to me. He just looks distraught.
So he asked you if you were with some woman.
Yeah, and I was. I was hanging out with her, and Roland and I stayed relaxed. He was tensed up, and he said, okay. He said, okay, well, this is just between her and me, so it's not, you're not. And I said, okay, because I said I don't get in other people's drama. He starts walking away. I call him back, and I said, hey, bro, you just so you know, me and her aren't doing anything. She just comes around because I knew her cousin, and he was a pretty good friend, and he OD'd, so she was kind of coming around, just hanging around. So he goes in, he goes back in, but when he's walking away, someone else comes up beside him, and he takes his shirt off, and he just has a wife beater on, and he's all stretching out and saying something loud, and I'm thinking, oh man, okay, cool, because just
you were all in the game room at this point.
Yeah.
And he's still, know him. He's been involved with this woman, Keisha.
Yeah.
And so he's got something for her, and he's stretching. He's got his wife beater out. Okay, you're in the game room.
I'm sitting in the truck, and so I just kind of get out of my truck.
You said it was bothering you.
It wasn't bothering me.
Okay, so it wasn't bothering you at this point.
He was cool with his message, and he wasn't abrasive. He was just distraught. But you can't always trust that. My house isn't too far, and I don't want him coming around starting drama.
So you're in the game room, and what happened there?
Yeah. Okay, so I get out of my truck, and I'm just walking. I walk up to there, and because I'm thinking I'm not going to let him do something to her if he wants to get crazy, but he's also kind of charging me up. But stay calm and level-headed.
What do you mean by charging you up?
Charging up, like when someone says, when they're shooting slugs at you, or they're saying something to get you worked up, or if they're just physically aggressive, you can sense it for almost like no reason. And you know when someone does that, when they're actually there's a motivation behind them being nice to you, but at the same time they're being kind of.
So did anything happen? Did something go down? He was giving you guff. It felt like he was giving you problems.
Yeah, well, I just got out, and she came to me and she was cool. She just kept saying, "Hey, you got to go." And I said, "Why?" I said, "He's not." First, I was a little bit tensed up because I'm thinking, even if this guy were to whip my ass, I'm gonna make it known.
It's too early, man. It's too early. Keep it clean.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, so I just got out and stayed level-headed, and I just went over there and was.
So you left. Nothing happened.
People. Huh?
So you left. Nothing really happened.
Yeah, later. After I kind of smoothed it over, but I just stayed calm. I didn't get aggressive. I stood over there. Dude just kept walking around me. He just kept walking by me, and every now and then he'd make eye contact. But I think he knew, like, just me standing there staying calm. Like I straight told him, I'm not getting involved in this drama. I'm not doing this. And the whole time I stayed like that, and it seemed to just kind of diffuse everything until.
Why be around that at all?
Just because I was just dropping her off, and
just hanging out.
She came by. Yeah, well, she owed me $20 on Cash App, so she came by with cash. I cashed out someone else and gave it to her, and so she came by to give me that.
Well,
and then asked me
all's
if I'd
well
give her
that
a
ends well, huh? Chase.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't lose my mind and get all mad, or I didn't let it drag on. I laughed about it because it's like, like I said, if I would have approached him differently, and I would have been more.
But so you're not involved with this Keisha girl. You didn't get emotionally involved.
Not.
You were just like
she tried.
This got maybe a little spicy, and I stayed out of it. Well, right on, man. It kind of fits what I wanted to get into. Emotion, man. It's just like, you know, you said it said here you wanted to talk about dealing with emotions, and it's particularly pertinent. So I want to get into that personally. Appreciate your call on this, but emotion and not being free, it's kind of on my mind a little bit. Appreciate your call, Chase. Anything else on this?
Yeah.
Dealing with it sounds like you were able to deal with that correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The emotions would have taken you down the wrong way. Right on, Chase. Appreciate your call, sir. Call me again.
Yeah.
Right on. 888-775-3773. Do I have a Cash App? I do have a Cash App. It's a great question. Cash tag Gorgonzola. That's a HOLA. Right? Boom. It's on the screen. Little HOLA Gorgonzola. There's the QR code. There's the cash tag Gorgonzola. But here's the whole thing. Okay? I mean, if you wanted to, just Cash App here, but emotion, where was it? Where were we here? 888-775-3773. It can get spicy, right, with emotion. You can get yourself in situations you don't need to be. For what? A thrill. A friend. I mean, with friends, it's like, it's one thing to be friendly and all that, but it's another thing to be at the subject to someone's life, right? Their life can be inflicted on you. Oh, I got this guy and he's kind of crazy. He's into me. And then, you know, we hang out a lot and we just hang out all the time. And I just don't know why trouble keeps coming my way. And I'm somewhat remembering Chase a little bit, but I don't necessarily know myself. But it's just, I don't know why trouble keeps coming my way. It's just, you know, you don't have to let people inflict their life on you. It's a flaw in yourself somewhere, I'd say. But look, relationships a little bit, huh? Let's do a little thematic segue action here. Speaking on what? Love and marriage, right? It's a topic, people. Look, I'm just like scrolling the internet, right? And it's a funny thing about the internet. This even came up earlier today. Nicely crystallized, I think, in a conversation between Hake and Jesse Lee Peterson. It says these groups, you know, they converge and you have groups now. It's like before, this was like a meme I saw a long time ago, but it explains this perfectly. You know, at a time, I bet you there was a time when someone maybe had a thought to themselves and they were like, these toasters, you know, these toasters that toast bread. I place the sliced bread into the toaster and I press the button and it pops and the metal shininess to it, it's exciting. Imagine a person like that excited by a toaster. They would be probably one of one in their whole life. They'd probably be the only one if they even spoke on it, if they spoke about that to everyone they met, he'd probably still be the only person he ever knew that's into toasters in such a way, you know. But now you got the internet, and boom, now you got a whole community, and y'all love toasters, and now it's like we are a community, and it's like Woodrow Wilson said everybody's sovereign. They're not thinking of that, but we're still under the effects of it. And everyone's like, now everybody needs rights. We're a group. We're the toaster lovers, and we need civil rights. That's the world we live in. But it's a little bit. I'm thinking a little bit about groups. I'm going on the internet. I see, and I said, and everyone's got takes on marriage and love. Okay. And I can't help but notice a couple of things. Starting off with, it seems like many have a fantasy, right? A sort of fantasy. A lot of people didn't like this one. I don't even know who she is. She has like a cross in her name, Sarah Stock. Marriage should be one bank account, no prenup, 1 billion kids, no divorce for any reason. You know, is that a fantasy a little bit? Just a nice desire at least. It's like, okay, what is that? At the very least, a nice laundry list of things you'd like. Is that not the definition of a fantasy? It doesn't mean you can't make it reality. What, give it a shot, whatever. Not saying anything about that, but I'm looking at some of these moments on the internet with women, right? And it's like, oh, Not everybody feels that way. But did you see this guy? He runs an outdoor channel. He runs this YouTube channel, very popular. Outdoor Boys. I've seen him over the years. I've been kind of following this channel along with this other. There's this like family that makes candies. I forget where they are. Hercules Candies. Anybody watch them? So wholesome, but hey, it was cool watching them at the beginning. Hercules Candies. What these people, Outdoor Boys, they're out there making some pretty sweet like outdoor content, like hoofing it in the snow, and it's a man and his kids, and he got quite popular. Okay, we're talking. What are we talking here? We're talking 15.3 million subscribers. Doing what he loves. Look at this. He's out in the camping in the snow. There's like nothing to him now. This is like nothing. I'm explorer of the world. Let me subdue the land. Some freaking Adam over here. We got Adam over here. Okay. And he's got this amazing channel. And look, this thing came out. You posted this. He posted this thing basically about how he's stepping away. He posted his final video. Maybe it's a hiatus. Maybe it's a goodbye, but the title is Goodbye. And he's saying goodbye to the channel. Okay, and he kind of, here's a little snippet of it. If we can, just a moment.
But it's been a tremendous adventure, and it's allowed me to provide for my family while making wonderful memories with my wife and kids. But even good things can be taken too far, and I think I'm starting to reach that point. But I'm not just talking about the time and energy I spend making YouTube videos. I'm also talking about the attention it brings. In just the last 18 months, this YouTube channel has gained about 12 million subscribers. And because of people stealing my content and posting it on other platforms, my family and I have been viewed about 4 billion times, in addition to the 2.8 billion views on YouTube. The sheer volume of fans trying to contact me, trying to take pictures with me, or just trying to come up and talk to me in public could be a bit overwhelming at times. And my wife and I, we both have real concerns about what this will do to our family if I keep growing my YouTube channel at this pace. And the time to stop is before this problem gets so out of hand that my family and I can't live normal lives. But
it's time to stop. It's time to stop before this gets out of hand. What if we get too famous and my kids can't live a normal life? You can understand that, right? You can understand that, right? But maybe this is where I'm the villain, okay? This is fine. It's like, you can understand that. You made plenty of money. You had millions of... This blew up in the last year. 14 million, what do you say? 13, 14 million of those subscribers were just recently. So he was at a milli. He was doing fine. But okay, fine. In the past 18 months, maybe you made enough money. But maybe I'm the villain because I hear things, right? And then I judge. Maybe I'm judging.
Trying to take pictures with me, or just trying to come up and talk to me in public could be a bit overwhelming at times. And my wife and I, we both have...
My wife and I. My wife and I. Stop, Nit, don't you dare. Stop right there. What do you say, Harmony? Nit, don't you dare. My wife and I. Do women ruin everything? Was this... was this... Oh, no, that's something else. We'll talk about homeless people in a moment. But is this the effect of the woman? Or is this a chip in my own veneer, Do they ruin it all? Is he just... Does she hate greatness? It's like she cannot see. It's too much. But anyways, I bring it up in a sense to... what is it? To this fantasy, in a sense, that gets talked about. I mean, they say, have your wife not work. Have your wife not work. Don't be a feminist. Don't be a feminist. Okay, be a different. But in some ways, are you not? This is, in some ways, can you really escape the paradigm? I mean, I think you can personally, but allow me to expand on this because consider child support for a moment. This was brought up. It was an interesting thing. You could do the whole thing, but let's just say she turns on you, okay? You would be liable for more. The point is, the way it works is the courts try to attempt to maintain the same income share models, the same life that the child was receiving when they were together. And if when you were together, she wasn't working, you got to pay all that when you're apart. Should she marry, for example, you're still on the hook. That's how it works. So, don't be a feminist, but you're kind of in a constraint in a sense, right? Are men truly ever in a constraint? Well, I'll let you ponder that. I'm telling you the reality of the situation. I was listening to Joel on the Hake Report, and I see calls coming in. I'll get to all of you. 888-775-3773. I was listening to Joel. He's talking about Diddy and Cassie and all that. This woman, Cassie, what is she? Cassie Ventura. She's married. She's married to this guy. Okay. And just you got to wonder what it's like being Alex here, right? Married to Cassie. And it's one thing to have like a serious criminal complaint. Like, okay, you know what? I'm not trying to get anything. I'm not trying to make a big stink. I'm not trying to get a name. I'm not trying to absolve my own problems here. I'm not trying to minimize my actions here. A crime was committed and this needs to right. That's one thing. But from what I've gathered as a person who's not following the whole thing, it's a little bit of it's really not, okay? There may have been criminal action from Diddy here, but in many ways, the defense of these people is only allowed in a world that basically justifies women's wrongdoing no matter what. Okay? Imagine being Alex Fine, like you hear people, don't ask people their body count. But in a sense, imagine for a moment, now you'll hear some men ask that and make that very important. And I think the vast majority probably come at it from the wrong way. But what if I put it like this? An unrepentant person is an angry person. An unrepentant person is not someone you can trust. What you can trust is repeated behavior of the past, right? They're unrepentant. You know, imagine me, Alex Fine. You're in the court. All this stuff is coming out, and all the men she slept with, and you're telling yourself, no, but she was forced. No. She was forced. Diddy made her do it. He threatened her for years and years, and she could have run away. She had phones, and no. But the text messages, she's talking about how she is picking the one she wants to sleep with, and debating whether to do drugs or not, and it doesn't seem that well. But no. My baby's telling me that she did nothing wrong. She did absolutely nothing wrong. Like, what mental gymnastics do you have to go through here? That's an unrepentant person. Anybody, right? It's not someone you could trust. So you want now extrapolate that, and you got a world that kind of sees it like that, a world of women that sees it like that. You want to tell men to just go into that? Just trust it, go into that. So, you know, you pick somebody. Either you're not aware of that, or you're saying, I understand all that. I'm mature. I know myself enough to say, whatever, that this is the exception. So be it. And that's fine. So anyways, just rambling a bit about love and all this. Cassie came up on the Hake Report with Joel. He did a great job there. Jesse did. Fantastic shows. Joel Friday TV as well. Great topics. So that, you know, you got all that, right? There's a little tidbit for you. There's a little package for you. You're like chewing on it. And you're like, what does it all mean? Whatever. But I can't help but notice. I'm scrolling through and I see the people in the world, and I wonder about what do I get from Bond? What kind of example am I? Like, I do really think about these things, and the calls that I hear every day, and they're men and they're women, and they're of every race, every color, every religion. They're seeking freedom, and I think it's possible. And I see certain things, okay? I see certain things, and it's like, okay, let's be all truthful, and we're being truthful, right, about women in life. But it's like, cannot let, how do I put this? You can't let what I'm about to show you, maybe a little bit of the spirit get into you. Can't let it. You cannot allow it. You got to be a man. You got to be light. You got to be love. You can't let this get into you where it's basically just judgers and accusers. Judgers and accusers. And being a judger and accuser is beyond being a man or a woman, okay? So, for example, like, look, I've shown this account before, involuntary celibate, incels. I've called it incel slop. Okay, maybe I'm judging. Maybe I don't know. I'm not really that into the incels. Like, I really even know what they talk about. But every now and then I'll see a post. It goes viral. And look, he's got this guy on the left and this guy on the right. Both muscular, working out. Sorry, buddy. Never skip genetics day. All that gym is never going to help you, buddy. You're a little gremlin. You're a little... I'm laughing. I'm not really, whatever. You're a little pinhead gremlin. Sorry. And you're never going to do it, man. Look, okay, I'm laughing. I'm like kind of even making fun of him. I am trying to make a point here. Look, I just see this and I'm thinking like these people don't want anybody to be free. Like if you look at that and you sit there and you think, yeah, man, it's so wrong that the guy on the right can't have any woman he wants. Like, you gotta wake. You don't want to be free. You can have anything you want. You can't have everything. You can't have everything you want, but you can have. Let's say you're that guy. And I'm an incel, but I'm an incel. Why? Why am I an incel? Because I can't have sex. You can have sex. Or I'm an incel because I can't have a relationship. You could do all that. Or you can't have it all, but she has to be beautiful. It's got to be in this realm of possibilities. I don't know how to put it. There's women out there that fit that guy. Let's be real. Am I crazy here? Am I crazy? There's women out there. Now, female nature. Oh, but the thing is about female nature, they want to go for the even the lower females, whatever, will go for the higher guy. They'll ignore that guy. They'll ignore him. But here's the thing. Because there's guys that get women despite all that. So I don't even know what you're saying there, but I don't want to deny female nature. But here's the thing. I look at the AI, I look at the incel accounts, and they're reposting this woman here. And she's like, I forget that podcast. I don't even care. And she's making this big point, right? Society would be better off if we stopped lying to incels. Then I'll get to calls, 888-775-3773. I see lots of advice coming from different circles that incels should do X, Y, Z to improve themselves to attract a woman. But the cold truth of the matter is that a lot of these incel types don't even clean up very well. They simply don't have what it takes to attract women. And no amount of being more confident or getting a good haircut, of wearing the right clothes or adjusting their beliefs is going to fix that. And I'm saying this as a woman. I've seen incels in real life and had the chance to interact with them personally. A thought experiment runs in my head. What could he do that would make me attracted to him? The answer was always nothing. Damn. And so, right, you're like, okay, maybe she's kind of being honest, right? The incel account is reposting this, but look who the incel account is teaming up with. She ends it off with, society needs to quit lying to these guys. In a world where women are free to choose who we have sex with, they're the losers. They're the guys who don't get picked. Sorry, but that's the truth. The sooner we can come up with better methods to artificially pacify these men's sexual needs and to help them come to terms with their situation, the better off everyone will be. Incel account, you teamed up with a woman that hates men. You can't trust anybody, man. You honestly can't trust, you can barely trust me because people are mad. and I give you the facts about the news. I'm not giving you misinformation. I don't do that crap, and I'm not even trying to be terms of service here. It's just, I do, when I say I don't know, I don't know. I don't know if you really get that in most places. I'm straight up with you. But you see what I'm saying? You can't trust anybody. They're not normal people. Most people that you talk to are not normal people. They're mad. And so they have a bias. They have a chip on their shoulder. So the incel account teamed up with the man hater. It thinks he's making a point saying, she's right. Nothing you can do can make yourself attracted to women if you're an unattractive man. And here's the thing. It's like, sure. In a sense, sure. But here's the funny thing about that. Just make some money. Call me shallow and all that, but that's what these people are talking about. They're talking about shallow. They all want this shallow relationship. It's like, fine, get it, and maybe you'll learn that it's not, whatever, that's a different story. But they want all that. Fine. You can get it. You're not even that far. Okay, you're an unattractive man. Make some money. Stop caring about women. Care about you. Do you. Make some money. Do something real. And then you won't be an unattractive man. What you think is an unattractive man, it's all thoughts and a mess, okay? These people are judging. They're not free. They're the judger and the accuser. Yeah, that the woman was there. Was she there perfectly described that hate in women. You know, let's just pacify these men, okay? Just pacify. Give them whatever sex bots they need. Give them whatever they want in the bed, women, and, you know, you be the neck in the relationship. So what was I saying about this? I think about all this, and I do think about, like, the truths about women and all that, but Bond it's been special to me in my heart, you know, because people come here looking for freedom, and I think those who want it find it, and that's for all people. And anybody who's the accuser is the accuser. You know what an accuser is? Like, women can be a certain way, but you meet a woman, you can't just then accuse her of that. You got to, like, see it. You got to see it. It's got to be in the moment. You got to let things happen. You got to deal with things the right way. It's got to happen. You can't be an accuser. What are you doing? That's what the women are doing. Anyways, what else was I saying here? But whatever, they're evil. Like, there's no love, right? It's a spiritual thing. It's coming not this way, women to men, but that way. But if that helps. Funny thing about the paradigm here, though, if I may ramble on about things that I find interesting, because we got to get to the news. Supreme Court, big betrayal. And I got callers on hold. And that's a fine topic. I'll talk about that. Let's see here, because we got callers, we got news. But a funny thing about the paradigm, what am I talking about? Marriage, right? People want to have their own thing, but in some ways you're stuck. And I don't mean this in a black pill way. You can't get out, but in like society, you know how, like, for example, you could be like, I'm a Christian and I'm different from the world. I'm just different. I'm a new creation. But then you walk out of your door and you have to wear pants, and, you know, you still do the societally normal things to and not saying that you shouldn't, but all the things we were taught, all those things are still there, and you kind of gravitate. It's almost like a habit, right? A reflex, right? In many ways, your relationships with people, right? It's a reflexive. You give and take. What are the things we were taught? Be honest with each other. All those things. Not saying they're wrong or anything, but I am describing this thing, this societal constraint, in a sense, we operate in. And when people attempt to operate out of it, it kind of looks a little funny, maybe. And that's what it is, right? It's an outside judgment. It looks funny, but I'm just being honest. Like polygamy. What was that guy? Brother Polite. Brother Polite on the JLP, Fallen State. It's like they were saying it works and all that, but it looks a little funny. Like, I'm the alpha and I'm running things, but it doesn't quite look at it. And how do I put this? It just looks funny. I know that Joel was talking with somebody about having multiple wives. You know, he said something that was my ego was like, I'm typing to Joel. I'm like, he said that God said you could have multiple wives. I personally haven't found it. I know that there were men in the Bible who had multiple wives. I haven't seen God say that you could do that. I didn't see that in the Bible. Personally, I haven't seen that. But I know that there were men in there. And didn't they love God? Didn't they love God? And God worked on, or who was it? Was it one of these kings even? So you know, it's just an Old Testament man, right? You know, these Old Testament men. It's a different kind of man. I ain't mad at it, right? It's you know, you can still love you still love God, or attempt to love God as best you can, right? It's just a little funny looking, don't you think? It's like out of place. It's like you're kind of LARPing a bit. Like, stop pretending you're not like all of us. We grew up in the monogamy world. You had a mother and a father. Okay, it's like I'm like a tribal king. I'm a tribal king with multiple. Like, or I don't even know what that is. But anyways, yeah, God could work out men with multiple wives. It happened. But whatever. Like, I got more to ramble on about this. You find this interesting at all? I got something I think we're almost done with this, but I do want to get to calls. I don't want to have them holding forever. We got super chats. And then we got the news. We got plenty to get to. Let's get to, let's see here. Brother Polite had him a flock. But do you remember, William? Did it seem a little funny? And not that I not drop any judgment of a man should have self-control and that just looks beta. Just drop that for a moment. It still didn't quite look like as he was putting it out. Like he just looked like an awkward guy, sort of. He's kind of awkward, and these girls kind of liked him, and they were like, "Yeah, that's what we do." And you just look at it, you're like, "All right, I guess." That was just what I was saying, William. If anybody else remembers the polygamous Brother Polite, is monogamy not working? These articles go viral. Monogamy isn't the best type of romantic relationship. You gotta do it all different. It's just, that's not a new thing. I just want to say it's like we're so progressive and different. But isn't that kind of an old thing? All sorts of different kinds of ordering. Because what is marriage, right? Besides what you think and what it could be between you and God and all that, all I can ascertain is marriage as an institution has just been like in place by ruling classes for stability. And it seems to me like people have tried a whole bunch of things. That was a long time ago. And then civilization blossomed. And it seemed to only work with men and women, maybe sometimes multiple. But you see what I'm saying here is that trying these different setups is not new. Is what I'm trying to say. I could be making that up. It's just my impression. Okay, we got Robert out of Kansas, sir. A fine topic, but sir, just don't be, you're a wild card, sir. I don't think you're a bad guy. It's just be careful with the language, sir. HH should be enough. How you doing, Robert out of Kansas?
Hey, Nick. Yeah, brother. I know you don't know me, but I'm not that bad of a guy.
That's my impression, man. And some wild card, I may have treated you a certain way, but in my mind, I think this guy can't. Right? He likes us, right? So I would think you'd want to follow certain semblance of decorum. But sir, what'd you call it about? Go ahead. Well, one thing. Go ahead.
One thing you can trust is I'm real honest. So you don't have to guess where I stand or if I have any different motives, right? So you can just, on some level, I'm so honest that I might offend you or, push you away in that manner.
I got you.
I won't lie to you. Okay. Does that make okay?
Understood.
So there's this new song have you heard the song by Kanye West?
The song? Yeah, by Kanye West. I have.
Yeah, it's like the biggest song in the world, literally.
So it is really that popular? I've seen some stuff on the internet.
It's that popular, and no one is allowed to play it. It's a fascinating thing.
I heard it got removed from these music distributing websites, Spotify, etc. I forget what they call them, but is that true? That song got removed. Basically, the song. I mean, folks, the song is Enga, Heil, and then that one German leader. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but that's pretty much the chorus. You can imagine a stadium of people yelling this at a show, at a concert. That's the chorus of the song. Removed from those places. What were you saying about it? People are asking what song.
Yeah, Nick, I'll just call it NHH.
That'll do.
So what he does in the preamble, I think it's great, especially with Bond's message and what you guys focus on and trying to correct in this evil world. He focuses on that he has been displaced as a man, where essentially the government has power over his family and can tell him, you can't see your kids. We're gonna take your bank account. We're going to, everything you thought you were free, but we can take your family and your money and And so what he's saying, the guy is just saying, there's no option I have. I mean, I found out that it isn't the white man. It's some other tribe of men who control this industry, control this country, control my bank account, and can take my family away from me. So he became the guys who tried to restore the order right now. And the HH part, the HH, because us real Nazis, like me, right?
You said what?
You
said there are real Nazis like you?
Yeah, us real Nazis, like me. There is an argument about the HH. Okay, so the HH could be simply a plant, right? So there's a difference between Nazis and the HH.
Okay.
And I want people to understand that is that we don't know who that guy was. Now, maybe he was a hero. He said all the right things. He said that these Jews will turn our women against us and have us voting to kill our children and marry perverts in a couple generations. That's what Hitler said. So he said all the things that were going to happen, that these people intend to destroy our society, to destroy our children, to turn them into perverts. And so the things he's saying, and Kanye's going through this, where they're trying to turn his children into perverts. And he's like, this is the story of all history, of what these people do. And so when he says he's a Nazi as a black person, everybody's freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
But it is simply him understanding that, wait a minute, I've been told it's the white man my whole life. And now I'm figuring out it's this whole other group of people that control the money, that are teaching me to hate the white man, that are teaching me that women are the same as men and that homosexuals can achieve marriage, whatever, transgendered kids, whatever evil you want to go towards. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just the Nazis stopped all of it. It was illegal to be gay, right? It was illegal. If you were gay, you better not talk about it. And so there's things like that where we don't have to kill all the gays or round up the Jews or anything. But if you just make it illegal for a woman to divorce her husband, that's what the Nazis did. They said you cannot get a divorce if you're a woman. Simple. And then you don't have divorces. The children grow up with parents, and you have a stable, successful society. But you take the opposite view, what we have now, who won the war? Well, Satan won the war. The Nazis and HH were put down. And, that's
I gotcha.
That's what we're living in. Satan's won every war we've been in, brother, whether it's the Civil War or the Second War, or whatever. That's what keeps happening, and that's why things are so bad. And
I got you,
so
Robert. I hear what you're saying. I mean,
to,
that's what you're saying about it. Personally, I can't quite, be certain on exactly where Kanye's coming at this from, because it's an interesting thing. I've been following it somewhat, and I've seen his stuff for a long time, and it's an interesting thing to follow personally. He's just an interesting guy to me, and I can't quite be certain where he's coming from, and what I'm getting at is that it's funny. You can kind of see it both ways in a lot of the lyrics and moments he's had in interviews. You could say, wow, that statement or this is crazy, but you can also see how it's an attempt. It could just be, I'm letting you see I'm crazy. It could go either way, but he could also be sincerely angry, and in many ways having an outburst, right? Caring too much about his children, going into that evil. I'm kind of trying to be quick here, but what I'm getting at is that either way, even though I can't be certain where he's coming from, so before I go and just like support a man, everything he does and says, I don't have to quite do that. No one's asking me to do that. I can say that I'll always still like it. I'll always still like, even if it's an angry man putting out like having an outburst, I still appreciate it for its artistry, whatever, for the moment in time, for the thrill, even like whatever it is. I see it with a little bit of space and like it either way. I like it. I like a man's his extreme use of free speech. It brings tears to my eyes. An extreme use of free speech to this level that, especially if it's coming from love. And again, like I said, I can't ascertain that. It could be an angry man. Imagine if he was coming from love, truly. What an amazing message, right? I'm letting people speak freely. It's not about hate. It's not about all that. I can't be sure, but either way, I like it. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of tough. That being said, what was I going to ask you? You said a couple of interesting things. What can I say? I mean, number one, do you think if you made divorce illegal tomorrow, because I think we both understand that marriage, these things were just in place by societies, by ruling classes to make society stable in a sense, okay? And so I'm not going to say that when, I think at some point it was in a sense illegal, right? No-fault divorce is what made it kind of just possible to just leave a marriage. Was it illegal before that, or am I misunderstanding that? Not in America, at some point in some societies, it was illegal. Is that fair?
Well, no. If you give me a second, Nick, real quick.
Go ahead.
So Kanye, like you keep an open mind in terms of Kanye, like I do.
No, but on the divorce stuff, was it illegal? Were you going to get? Sorry, I was asking a question. Was it illegal at some point?
Hey, shut up for 2 seconds, bro. I'll let you, and I'll shut up too.
No, as you're going to Kanye, I just want to know, was it illegal?
So for divorce or Kanye, listen, for Kanye, real quick, Nick, just shut up for 2 seconds. Okay. If the guy could be very evil, he could be completely the opposite of like maybe what you think I imagined him as. However, within people, there are massive sine waves, good and evil, huge draws back and forth. So on the divorce thing, of course, that there were provisions that if a man married a woman who, let's say, was an insane person, that a man could divorce a woman and get a new wife. It was never legal for a woman, because a woman every single month goes through a cycle that causes her to become temporarily insane. And if you say the wrong thing, they will try to divorce you. They're crazy. So they said, women, you don't have a right to divorce. We're going to delineate between men and women. You're not the same thing. You don't have the same right.
So that's what I'm asking. So it wasn't, in America, it wasn't, women weren't allowed to divorce their husbands. At some point it was illegal. What, they would be put in jail?
Well, they couldn't vote. They couldn't divorce. They couldn't kill their own children. It was not illegal to marry perverts. Okay, there used to be a lot of things.
What would happen? They'd go to jail. Like, okay, so husband, even though there's no court or anything saying divorce us, so to speak. I'm leaving.
No.
Would you go to jail?
No.
Or what happened?
A woman wants a divorce. She gets to a judge finally. She gets to a judge with a lawyer, and she says, "My husband, drinks every day and doesn't feed the horses. I want a divorce." The judge is basically going to be like, "Well, we're going to help him with his drinking and his horses, but if he's not philandering, if he's not hurting you or hurting, there's things where they just didn't let women. You couldn't just get a divorce."
And if that woman were to just leave and just say, "You know what, I can't get a divorce. I can't get this court handled, but for whatever reason, I'm leaving." Would she then be put in jail or something?
Well, I mean, she could run away. Where's she going to run? Back to her parents' house?
Right, but let's say she doesn't. Let's say she just moves to a different house. Like, it's not even a secret. She just leaves. She just doesn't want to be there anymore. She doesn't necessarily get the papers in this America that you're describing. She doesn't have to. She doesn't go to a court. Nothing gets divorced. She just leaves. Would she be? Is that a criminal offense? I'm just not familiar with this America, man. It's interesting to me.
No, it would be a situation where a woman would be on her own.
Right.
Women are,
because it makes sense to me. I'm not against this. Let's say you don't allow a divorce like that. You make it illegal, but you could. It's not a criminal offense to leave. That it kind of makes some sense. Put it like this: you can't just go around. Because these marriages are you're putting together this money, this estate, and you're putting together this family. You can't now go around like there's no incentive to like trying to game that in a sense, you know what I mean? Like, you got yourself married, you don't have to be in this. It's not a criminal offense to leave, but you can't go around like causing more havoc, trying to get another man, make more money, and put things together how you want. I'm not against that, if it's not a criminal offense. But anyways, Robert, what do you want to say about that?
Well, I want to say, first of all, that I don't even know what the hell we're talking about anymore. And secondly, you cut me off, Nick, like no one ever.
You went on something else. I don't know what you were saying. I was asking about divorce.
No, even Hake is more respectful, bro. Even Hake is nicer to me. It's whatever as soon as I start talking, it's just, no,
That's
shut
not
up.
true. I let you go on about what you felt
yeah.
about the song, and then I just sat there. You're like, this means this, and Jews this, and the war. I let you say it. I said my piece. And then on the divorce thing, I jumped in there, and I was a little annoying. Okay, I know how I can be. Maybe I'll come back to this call, and I'll see I'm wrong. But I'm thinking I just jumped in that one moment. Robert, last thing you want to say, go ahead.
Well, the last thing, Nick, and it's your show, and I appreciate you taking my call. The last thing I want to say is, do you see why I would delineate between a Hitler and a Nazi, where you have the nation of Germany who wish to be free from satanic rule, right? So like baby killing, marrying, faggots, whatever.
Come on, man.
You know, okay.
Come on, man.
That sort of thing.
Come on, man. Robert.
They wanted to, yeah.
Why
so
you
they
gotta
wanted
do
to
that?
stop that.
I give you all the time. Well, how come?
Okay.
This is why I cut you off. You're a wild card, man. I know I can
All
do
right,
that to people, and I'm watching that. But with you, I don't know. I just my hand goes back to the trigger, how I'm used to it. I can't help it, man. You're a wild card. How am I not gonna act like that with you? You can't respect the rules.
I'm sorry. I meant to say homosexuals. I meant that they wouldn't let homosexuals get married,
you.
and now you see that we do, and so you see who's in charge. It's people who want to marry, me and Hake, right? Which I might marry Hake. He's very handsome.
That's all I wanted you to say.
Other than Hake, I'm not getting married to any other men. So
I understand that. All right, Robert. It's not gay if you're white men. What? All right, Robert, take care. 888-775-3773. I don't know. It's like a white thing. Maybe it's like a joke. I've heard black people don't really joke like that. But, it's not gay if you got socks on, right? It's like, oh, we're joking about being gay. He's staying on track, Nick. You just don't like what he's saying. I don't even know what he's saying. He was just saying, I wasn't against it. Didn't you just hear me say I kind of get it? Like, imagine a world where divorce was illegal. Like, I wanted to ask him about it because simply I'm like, if you just like snapped your fingers and made that today, I don't know, it might not go how you think because those aren't the same people. Those aren't the same men. Those aren't the same men that you could give that to say, hey, women, you're not allowed to divorce men. But, when someone describes a world like that, you think, wow, so women were getting put in jail in America should they want to leave their husband. But, upon examining, you're like, oh, actually, no, it's the marriage is a legal contract and it has these stipulations and ramifications. And you as an individual in America, your body, you can leave. You don't have to be there. But you don't have a right to rip apart a family, get money, and then put it up how you want, put it over here. It's kind of making sense. So I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair, Chase. I could be a little bit of an interrupter. I'll watch that over again, and I'll be like, wow, there I go again, interrupting. But, I'm not redirecting. Okay, I'm an interrupter. You could call me 888-775-3773. I promise I won't bite. Please, I'm a nice guy. I won't bite. We got Jalen out of California. How you doing, Jalen? First-time caller. Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Yo, what's up, man? I'm doing amazing, Nick.
Appreciate your call, sir. First time, huh?
Yeah.
Why do I recognize you?
Yeah, first time.
No problem.
So what?
I said I recognize your voice, your name, but first time. Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I've called in the Jesse show before, so maybe you were watching that.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so my question is, how many Jews do you think died in the Holocaust, and do you think Hitler was a good person?
I sincerely don't know. That's sincere. And on the good person, on the good person thing, I mean, put it like this: my sincere conclusion, and this is from ignorance, is that, and this is actually having to confront some of the alternative guys that are in my audience, saying what we were taught about him is not true. My sincere conclusion is that he was mad and maybe went down the wrong path a bit. Right? Did Germany just wake up one day and it was just a nation of people where they were like, let's just kill the Jews? Like, no. But it was the grievances that you're even familiar with today. They continue on today. You can call them grievances. Maybe that's belittling it, but the problems that people care about, their nation, their identity, etc. They continue on. They rage on today. And in my sincerest conclusion, out of ignorance, knowing some of the lies they said about him, trying to paint him like he just woke up and was like, let's just kill the Jews. It seems like he went down the path of anger and wanted what he wanted, but he, made mistakes in anger. Straight up.
Okay. And would you say killing 6 million Jews was one of those
mistakes?
Why
do you want to go so hard on that, man, Jalen? Have you been watching Jesse and all that? If you know me, it's like, I'm not trying to like censor you, but why you gotta make it like about that number? And like, are you trying to get me banned or something? Like, you know what I'm trying to say, man? Like, straight up. Did you see what my answer was? An attempt to be quite honest with you, but like, you're trying to harp on that number, man. Why are you trying to do that?
I get that.
Remember that taxi driver? Who was that guy? He was like, I cannot discuss that at this time. I cannot. No, but it's sincere. You know what's another sincere answer to that? I haven't even looked into that, man. It's not like I've looked into like the exact why and all that. But I'll tell you this. I had a segment set up for this show today, in a bit here after a few calls about grievance. Someone made an interesting post about how the civil rights and all these things and all these, these different people, Trayvon Martin, et cetera, that this black grievance, in a lot of cases, at least in the recent history, is built on absolute lies. And it made me think about how so many people use grievance, and it can be built on facts or lies, etc. But I don't know. At this point, I'm just too awake on that. Anybody using grievance, isms, anti-Semitism, the Holocaust, using that as a cudgel to silence, to do whatever, I can get that. I understand that. But so what are you so into about all this?
Yeah. I'm into it because I'm trying to follow the truth and trying to get to the truth. And I know the truth. And the truth is that he was actually a good guy. So you said he was angry, right?
It seems like that. It seems like that. Yeah, it seems like he made mistakes and ended up hurting.
Anger?
You said what?
You said he was angry, right? And he went down the wrong path. You know that was righteous anger, though. He was righteously angry.
You said he was righteously angry. How do you know that?
Because what is righteous anger? You know what righteous anger is?
I've heard of it. I can't. On my honest definition, it's anger that is justified, anger that's righteous, right? That's what my honest, right? Is that a fair definition? Can we agree on that, right? So that's my honest definition of it. I don't know if I even know what that's like, sincerely. I don't know if I've ever felt righteous anger. But go ahead. You were saying that Hitler had righteous anger. How do you know that?
Yeah, because Jesus, I'll bring up Jesus. Jesus had righteous anger because he was angry at bad things. That's what justifies the anger, right? He was angry at bad things, right? So we can bring that over to Hitler. Hitler was angry at what the Jews were doing, ruining the economy, first transgender surgery, poisoning the youth. He was angry.
And that's what you say.
And then he stopped that.
Okay, but put it like this. It goes like, we're able to see from a vantage point that didn't all go well. Okay, and in the few ways I know, it seems like he made it seems like in an attempt to want these things for Germany, like these good things that he wanted for Germany, in that attempt, it didn't go that way. I mean, that's just obvious. From an evidentiary standpoint, looking back, you could clearly see it did not go that way. Many Germans died. Europe is not the same. Germany is nowhere. Germany, and you might be thinking of a response, thinking, well, that's someone else's fault. But the way I see it, in my ignorance, they all play a part. Wouldn't you agree? Because you don't really know either. Wouldn't you have to conclude in an honest take here at 2025 that they all had a part to play? And on our vantage point, we could see that Germany is a far cry from what Hitler wanted it to be, what the people wanted it to be. It's a mess. Europe's a mess. The brothers are fighting. So, yeah, I got to say, anger did that, not love. You think love did that, or you think anger did that?
here's the thing, right? You brought up a great point, right? And this is gonna turn back to bite you in the butt, right? You said, ain't Europe's a mess right now. Who won the war? The Allies, right? Hitler's vision was the exact opposite. He said England to the English, America to the Americans. Look at the immigration now, right? So of course Europe's a mess because the Allies won. You know, so if Hitler won, it would have been different. I agree.
I don't know if you know that.
I do.
But it didn't go that way. That's not even the point I was making, actually. To be fair, I stand by that. You don't know that. But that being said, that wasn't even the point. Because I was simply saying, from an evidentiary standpoint, without even making claims, without having had to go into the what ifs, what if Hitler won, what if not, we are seeing the effects of Hitler in a sense. Right? It didn't work.
What effect?
Love works. Right? It's a very simplistic view. But can you blame me? You don't know either. Love works, hate doesn't. Maybe it's too simplistic, but
yeah.
Hey, appreciate your commentary on this, Jalen. I have nothing else. I don't have anything else. I'm not an expert on this, and I can't give you more. Is there any other questions? I mean, that's it. Pretty much, we're pretty much done on this. Jalen, can you call me again?
Yeah, you said what?
Can you call me again?
Yeah, sure, man.
Take care. 888-775-3773. Anyways, people don't know. So he's saying he was born again. You don't know. Anyways. But I don't know. Where were we? I love free speech. I don't know about all that. I don't care about that. My show's about love. And I love free speech. I love free speech. It brings tears to my eyes. I also follow the rules with YouTube, okay? Call it what you want, okay? Call it what you want. I'm hearing the word cuck is on the way up, according if you're a Kanye fan. I don't know. YouTube cuck, whatever. I love snitches. That's a different story. SCOTUS, they call it a SCOTUS, the Supreme Court. Honestly, we do have to get into this briefly. It's kind of a big deal. I mean, whatever. It's news. But I got a couple of super chats. Let's see, how do we do this correctly? And I have a caller I want to get to. We got super chats, amazing super chats here. Thank you, Kale Samogi. Appreciate it. Says, I have a theory that if you are ugly, it's because God knew before he made you that you wouldn't return to him. Oh, Kale Samogi, with an interpretation of the road is wide to destruction, and only the beautiful are on the thin road to salvation. Okay, it's inward, outward, it's all the way through. Let's stop pretending. I'm joking. Kale Samogi. That's from Kale Samogi. Terry Strange with the super chat. Are these from? When are these from? Are these from today? Now that one was Kale was from today, but it looks like Terry is talking about today. But thanks for the super chat. Steven is joking when he calls his. Oh, that was from Friday. Appreciate that. All the super chats on Friday. Wow, very generous, Jabrail. Amazing stuff. Thank you. There was a fatal flaw in that stream. So anyways, what were we doing? We got calls. How do I want to do this first? We got Mark out of Los Angeles. How you doing, sir? Appreciate your call. You're on the air.
Hi. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Fine. Yourself?
Good. I just wanted to first say that Robert's my favorite caller. I agreed with every word he said. I hung on. I'll be honest, I didn't hear the whole conversation. I missed the very beginning, but from what I heard, he was making all 100% sense.
And what about?
So, everything he was talking about regarding, World War II and the Jews and Hitler, everything I heard him say was right on.
I'm not familiar with all that, but as far as I know, there was a right. It was a bad old war, man. It was a bad old war. But what'd you want to say?
Okay, I'll put it this way: if the war had gone the other way, and this isn't the reason I called, but I'll answer your question, then I'll get to my point. if the other side won, you wouldn't have a Muslim invasion of Europe and the takeover of white Christian civilization in this country. So that's all I'm going to say. You could take it from there. And I think if the Third Reich had won the war, you wouldn't have what's going on in Europe today going on. Okay, and
Yeah, I don't know. I'll say when I say sorry, go ahead.
No, when you said I heard you say I forget the exact wording, your little slogan there. It sounds nice, but it's just a slogan. What slogan? The one you said after you hung up from Robert. I preach love, not hate.
Oh,
yeah.
No, that's true, though. This has nothing to do with how the world says that. It has nothing to do with don't judge. You can't say the truth about people. Don't be racist. I'm not talking about like that at all. Okay?
Okay.
It's just the point, I think you'd agree with me. Like when people call you a racist, for example, that some people might assume you want to kill people. You want, right? And many times I have to assume you're coming at it from a merely, it's not a hatred thing. It's a factual thing. You're trying to defend America, and someone would be wrong to put that on you, right? To put that on you to say that you hate these people, you want them dead. It's like, no, it's not coming from a hatred thing. I'm just saying the facts. These immigrants shouldn't be here. America's being destroyed in this way, et cetera, right? If someone were to say to you, you're just saying that because you hate them, what do you think about that? What would you say to that?
Well, I have to say, first of all, the term itself is used as a cudgel against white people. Anytime you offend a Negro or support Trump, for example, anything like that, they're going to assume you're a racist. And my definition of the word racist means racially proud, wanting to preserve your race.
Right. You see how they assume this hatred? Mm-hmm. You see how they assume You see how they assume a hatred that you necessarily don't have?
Well, that's like I said.
And that's all I'm getting at. When I say I love all people, people want to say if I'm saying a certain thing, that means I hate them, I want to kill them, I want to do this or that. No, I don't want to do any of that. I'm just kind of speaking honestly. And on the Robert thing, I'll say, if let's examine that for a moment here. On a real note, that's just maybe a little bit of superfluous talk here. What I'm saying, stuff like, well, it's an evidentiary. We could see the evidence. Europe is a mess. That Hitler didn't quite know what he was doing. I still kind of stand on that, but that's not really me giving you a conclusion of history like I know it. Like, let me just be straight up.
Well, first of all, Hitler would have never stood for these. Sure, Hitler would have never stood for these third world immigrants coming in and taking over the country. No way. They would not have even tried.
That's what you said. You're saying that. Like, I'm just making the point that I'm just making that clear that that's fine. If someone's going to say I'm ignorant about history, whatever, fine. I'll admit that. But,
well, that's okay.
But don't you think it's a little bit,
yeah.
Would you say, I just can't help, I can't shake it. Even despite admitting I may not know about history, I can't shake this mindset of shoulda, coulda, woulda, it would have been better. I don't know. Call it a slogan, but it seems like the right thing is right. The right thing works. Love works. Blah blah blah.
You see, the whole thing about the Holocaust and slavery and all that. These groups use those issues as a cudgel against white Christians.
No, that's true.
It's a guilt trip. But I can tell you, I'm an old man.
That's how you put it. That's the summary right there. I'm so done with the guilt trip.
Exactly. But I could say, as a white man, an old white man who has lived in America my whole life, it just seems to me we have been given in to the blacks. We've been given in to the minorities. As long as I could remember, all the way back to the 60s, we always sold out. We always gave in to make the peace. And look what it's got us, So, you could be an unrepentant racist and be the right person. And another thing I want to say, people like maybe yourself and Hake and Jesse, and there's a female comedian that's very popular, Leonardo Joni. You know her?
No, I don't. I don't like. I don't like promoting people I don't know.
Well, I won't say her name, but she is the most censored comedian in the world. I discovered her this weekend.
But what'd you want to say? What'd you want to say?
That the people
you gotta understand, Mark. It's not like, guys, folks.
No.
Folks,
What
I'm not trying to overreact, and maybe I am, and I'm wrong for it. I'll admit it, Mark. But I can't let it go. I just can't let it go. It bothers me. It's like it's not even a personal thing. It's like just clear that you're just trying to promote stuff, and it's like
no, I'm
and
not.
I get it. I get it. I'm gonna drop it. I'm wrong for this. It's just you've been quite clear why you call. You call because you want to make this point about white people, and you know what? You don't hide that at all.
No,
you should. That's fine. You're being clear. I'm going to drop it. My apologies. No, sorry. I'm having a bit of an outburst, but now I'm done. Go ahead.
This is the last thing. These people, like yourself, Ake, and others that I mentioned, there is an audience for these.
It's because like you said her name, and then it's like it's clear that you were just trying to like check her out, guys. Like she's cool. She's cool. I was like, just make your point, right?
True.
But
what?
It's just obvious. Like, but anyways, I'll drop it. I'm wrong for that.
Okay. There's an audience for this type of comedy, this type of commentary, because even in blue cities, even in liberal cities like L.A., New York, there's still a lot of white Christians that don't have a voice.
Yeah.
And through people like the ones I named that you're trying to censor.
No. See, now you're making a censorship thing. Okay,
first of all,
why you gotta do that, Mark?
Name isn't earning me a dime.
No, but it's like putting out what you want, and it's like a disrespect in a sense, right? Because it's like I'm not even against this person, but now it's like now I'm against this person because you're going against the rules, and it's simply a rules thing. It's just like I care about the rules too much, maybe, Mark, but it's a respect thing. It's all it is, man.
Okay.
Because it's so obvious that you're just like, and it's not a personal thing. I'll drop it. I shouldn't get too mad about it, but it's just obvious that it's like, okay. I'm going to go on the show, not to talk to Nick because I like his show, because I want to hear what he has to say about this, but because I want to put out this name and put out my message. And you know what? You've been clear that that's what you want to do, and I should be okay with it. You've made that clear. But, where I'm going to stop it is the names. Let's just not go name and drop it. Okay, what were you saying? Go ahead.
That, these people, anybody you want to name that I can't name, there's an audience for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason there's an audience for, I'll just leave it at Hake and Jesse, because I'm allowed to say their names.
Yes.
There's an audience for these people because whites, conservatives, and Christians don't have a venue to either hear these people or speak up on your show about what's going on, because we're censored by the media and Hollywood that we can't get the message out. But when the message gets out, it sells like hot fire.
It's true.
And that's the good news. All we're hearing on the mainstream media is that white people are bad. Everything we do is racist, and there's no outlet for us. That's all I'm
totally
trying to say.
understand, man. And look, I get that part. I get, and that's like you've seen this. There's people, right? There's this kind of, you could call it a change. There's something changes. Something's changing in the mishtuka where people are allowed more and more maybe to say crazier things and what you would call crazy, what was censored before. But that only happened like after there were sacrifices. You understand? There's been people, there's people that you could think of that have been banned, have been all sorts of things, right? For simply saying things that are, like you said, people want to hear. And so on those shoulders, I mean, what can I say? As this changes, it's only because people, in a sense, are will say it, rip the Band-Aid off and let people feel bad until it doesn't feel bad anymore.
Okay, I got to ask you one last question. As a YouTube person, I know you're worried about censorship yourself. I understand
of course.
That. Okay, but my question to you is this: if a caller, any person calls you and says something wrong, that's a censorship issue, something that they'll get you for, don't they go by what the host says?
Well, here's another thing. That's a fine question.
Not the caller, but the host.
That's a fine question. Put it like this.
You're not responsible for what I say.
That's a fine question, but put it like this. I'm like a solo guy. That's all it is. I don't have any. I'm solo, man. I know I got Bond and Jesse and the guys here, but we really are individuals speaking up. We put our shows. Hold on. Allow me to say. But allow me to say, we're all the hosts here. We're putting our shows together daily by ourselves, and and kind of doing it by ourselves as best we can. There's nobody, I don't have anybody telling me what guidelines I should follow. YouTube doesn't make it clear. So in many ways, it's just that. It's just a guy by myself thinking that that's what I'm supposed to do. So don't take it, don't take it personally, right? I don't have a team. I don't have like a lawyer team. I don't have a team of lawyers to tell me what to do. I don't have anybody. I don't have anybody paying me in that way. I get paid by you guys. You guys donate. That's how we run. That's literally it.
Just imagine
that's literally it.
I mean, if you as the host cannot control what a caller will say.
No, you made that point,
okay,
and to put it, there may be there may be a learning curve here where I'll be able to kind of know how far I could take that in a sense. But to answer your question, it's just that's the only reason. I'm a solo guy, and I'm thinking that that's what I'm supposed to do.
I know that YouTube does have guidelines, and I don't want you to get in trouble.
Yeah,
it's just that I always under the assumption that the caller could say an F-bomb, for example. And you can hang up on them. But I'm just using that as an example.
No, it's a fine question too. For me, the swearing is just kind of like more of like a personal taste kind of thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking at it from the guidelines of YouTube.
Yeah. I appreciate the questions.
Sure, they can't penalize you for what a caller calls.
Well, that's the perfect thing about what you're saying is, and I should kind of remember this in a sense. Should I, let's say, host a debate? And I do plan for many things of this channel. Let's say I host a debate, and in many ways that will come into play, and I've thought about that. But besides that, Mark, we'll leave it at that. That's all it is. I don't have anybody telling me what to do. It's just it seems like the right thing to do. So just we can follow guidelines here, and we don't have to say certain words. I mean, we can speak freely. You guys could do it on my show. Anything else you want to say before we go, Mark?
Yes. Hey, coming back tomorrow?
I think so.
Oh, good. I hope he's okay.
Yeah. Right on, man.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Call me again.
Will do. Bye-bye.
888-775-3773. Oh, man, so many calls. This show loves all races. This show loves blacks. Thank you, LARPing for Cash. This show loves Jews. We love all people. This is true. Wait, I'm just checking out what the chat is saying. They're warning me. You guys are warning me? Am I not paying attention to something? You guys are saying I'm being baited? Did I handle things incorrectly? Let me know in the chat. Leave me a little comment. Maybe I handled something wrong. We're keeping it chill, though. I'm being quite clear, I think. How about one more here? We haven't even gotten to the Supreme Court, but William out of California wants to get in there. Appreciate your call, William. You're on the air.
Hey, 1-888-775-3773. That's 1-888-775-3773. What's on? How about
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That's the line.
What's on Nick's mind?
Yes, sir. Number on the screen. Appreciate that, William. Go ahead.
How you doing?
All is well, sir.
Yeah. So what's on your mind today?
What'd you call it about? You called me.
Anything, your subject. Any subject you cover, I'm supporting.
No. And I know you do. By the way, I want to make that clear. That's clear as day, your support. So appreciate that, William. But you call in and call me. That's how this works.
No,
you got to call me with your topic.
I'm just fooling with you, man.
Okay.
You always accommodate. You are so polite. What's on your mind, William?
Thank you.
I'm just saying,
what
on
you
your
calling
mind,
about?
Oh man, I just walked in and heard a little bit of what you guys are talking about, but I commend Mark for some of his things that Mark says, because especially white people, they should be strong and stand up against the fatigue that is being that everybody's getting from black experience right now. Everything is so sensitive right now. But I do like about Mark is he speaks up.
Yeah, man.
And I don't think he hates black people at all. I think that's a misconception.
Yeah, man. It even makes the anchor baby uncomfortable sometimes. But the free speech brings a tear to my eye. So no, I don't. And I say uncomfortable out of just ignorance and assumption. To assume that one hates, right? Let me just, anger is evil no matter what. But let me, at some point, I can't. At some point, you just, got to hear someone out and not assume at every word.
Hear him out, huh?
Yes, sir.
Just hear him out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not wrong, you know, what Mark is talking about. You know, he's always been one of my favorite callers. Listening to him, you know, it gets sometimes it turns humor. It turns kind of humorous sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, he's not even that he's entertaining. He's not even trying to be entertaining. You know, the guy, you know, stands up and just tells the truth and everything. I think more white people ought to do the same thing. And when they do, it's not to hurt others. That's what the misconception is, I think. You know, like you said, white power is the same as black power. I mean, just somebody's empowering their race or whatever, you know, but it doesn't, you know, mean that you have to impose on everybody with it.
True say, and I understand what you're saying, William. In many ways, people are the assumption of anger is placed on people who are just standing up for their country. So appreciate that. Did you hear about the Supreme Court thing? You know, them basically blocking. You know, the news is, I think today or yesterday, they allowed him to take away this temporary protective status from these Venezuelans, but that's just covering up Friday, where they're basically saying he can't deport people using the Alien Enemies Act.
It's temporary. They can't. You know, that is crazy, isn't it?
Oh.
You know, they should be. This will just tell you how they feel. That's how bad they're feeling. It's rubbing them so hard. They can't stop a president from doing this. It's all temporary.
I sure hope so. Should not even matter.
It is.
They have like two of those people have foreign-born children, Roberts and Barrett. They should not have allowed, they should not have been allowed to make such decisions about the country.
Yeah, they're looking for any victory they can get. And Trump's not even being as hard as he can be on the whole situation.
Yeah.
Even like some of these congressmen and women who are getting arrested and everything, you know, they can really do that. They can really put you in cuffs, you know, all of that storming that complex in New Jersey and all of that stuff. And the judge is letting people go out the back door. You know, as you can see, you can get in trouble over this stuff. And it's like the liberals are picking their poison. You know, they're like basically saying, we want to know what's going on with them. Why do you have them locked up like that? But then again, you know, they're doing all these horrific crimes all over the country, ridiculous ones.
Insane, man.
It's like they're telling you which one they choose. But
yeah,
I mean, it's not about votes. A lot of people don't understand that. They can't really vote. It's just the more people in your district, you know, holding seats down in Congress.
Yeah, I was going to say, exactly. That's how it is. Which it's significant. It apports, I think, electoral college votes. No, not electoral college.
Exactly.
But it's a significant thing that where a mere population, these people are counted as the population, which apports more.
Yeah.
I forget what it is. Representation in the government, essentially.
Look how they're acting, Nick. Look how they're acting over these people. They don't even know these people.
Yeah.
They don't know when they got here. They don't know how they got here. They're just looking for something to rouse the crowd up with. You know, they just looking for something. You know, they're using this as an excuse, and it's like they're really telling people how they feel about them. Really, to say the truth, for them to stand up for these people and turn around and not care about the American public safety is way out there. But they are picking their poison. It's not going to really turn out good for them.
That's so true. You know, it is a revelatory moment, you know, because you'd think, at least for many, in their minds, it's like when they're defending these illegals, they're thinking these women and children. But now with these latest cases, Kilmar, that other one, Martinez or whatever, it's like these people are like full on, you know, criminals in some cases. They're
straight up criminals.
You can show them abusing the women they're with.
Hey Nick, they're not even a little bit of criminals. They're a lot of criminals.
And they're out there supporting that. So it's like mask off, wow, you can't even say, okay, they just think that it's just these women and children. No, when you show them and they're still out there protesting, you think, wow, it really is a spiritual battle.
Yeah. And the graduations and all this stuff with Palestine and free Palestine. And it's like, Palestine is not unfree. What are you guys talking about? All of this stuff is just all these different levels of hatred against one guy.
William. Yeah, William, appreciate your call on this. Anything else you want to say?
That's it.
Call me again, sir.
Okay.
888-775-3773. Little call action there. We kind of got into it, so I want to mention this. Basically, the betrayal. And if you know this, you know, Trump's trying to deport these illegals. They're illegal. They shouldn't be here. And it comes down to, well, this has to do with what they're calling the Alien Enemies Act, okay? As you know, Trump, in his attempt to deport people, remove people from temporary protective statuses and all that, to allow him to, for example, deport Venezuelans who are under protective status, to allow him to deport these people, he's been invoking what's called the Alien Enemies Act, right? For example, and you know by now, but I'll let you know, that one of the things the Trump administration did was, for example, designate Tren de Aragua. How do you say that again? Designation. Yep. As a terrorist organization. Now, when you designate this Tren de Aragua, which is a Venezuelan gang, as a terrorist organization, it opens up the government to do a number of things, right? You can now deport people. They're saying it's wrong, though. You're getting rid of people they shouldn't be allowed to, right? They should have due process, they say. These people should at least have due process if they should be here. In many cases, though, when upon learning the details, when they speak on due process and all these things, the details are just a little bit different than what you think is being said. You know, in many cases, these individuals are being ascertained as illegal. They are being confirmed as illegal and then being deported. A process. There's your process. But, in other cases, they're saying, for example, we shouldn't be deported because we're under protective status. Bringing up the very concept of this protective status and where the levers of the government are. Does the judiciary get to tell Americans in America, you have to accept immigrants, etc., because we, the judges, are giving them a protective status? Yes, those people under a due process, in many cases, were already given a deportation order. They dodged it or did something else. But they got a protective status. So that very concept has been challenged. It comes to a head with the Supreme Court. And what happened, basically, if I can pull it up here, today, Monday, May 19th, you had this Supreme Court allows Trump to end temporary protective status for 350,000 Venezuelans. Kind of a interesting win there. It was a vote 8-1 with only Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson dissenting. Ketanji Onika, right? Brown Jackson. The court permitted the Trump administration to terminate temporary protective status for approximately 350,000 Venezuelans. That's a nice chunk of people. Pretty much can just now deport them. This decision lifts a lower court injunction that had blocked the move. While the ruling doesn't mandate immediate deportations, it removes legal protections for these individuals, exposing them to removal proceedings. Justice Jackson dissented, expressing concerns about the humanitarian implications and the potential for due process violations. Just lies. Like, your due process is you're illegal, get out. That should just be clear. So anybody saying due process, that's ridiculous. So we can just move on from that. But the humanitarian implication, like, what is this about having to save the world? You know, the very concept of rehabilitation, have you ever even stopped to consider it? Just rehabilitation. So I think someone even brought, was it Robert? He said, should your husband be a drunk or something, the state will attempt to help him with that. But let's be real. Let's hold on. Has that ever successfully happened? Is as a concept itself, you know, can you even rehabilitate people? I'd have to start with evidence. Has that ever happened? Has there been an institution that can do that? I don't know if that's even possible. So I don't know. This whole save the world stuff is incredibly old, not working. But that's just, you could call that a win. That's just Monday. Now, the decision that's actually quite interesting is Friday. Both Alito and Thomas dissented on this. The rest of the Supreme Court basically voted that Americans are not allowed to deport illegals. You can't have a country. Now, this could be temporary. I don't know how this will last or how this will work, or this will even be, if this is even a lasting order decision, you know, kind of thing, or if it's just for like this temporary thing. It's not clear because it just says the court halted the Trump administration's attempt to use the 1798 Alien Enemies Act to expedite the deportation of Venezuelan migrants. You know, these things can be a little particular. It is commenting on the Alien Enemies Act, setting precedent. It's like, oh, not looking good in that sense. But anyways, they're saying this is a blow to the Trump administration. The justices ruled that the administration's 24-hour notice of deportations was insufficient, with those alleged to be affiliated with the Tren de Aragua gang. But, you know, this is the one that's on the mind of some because it's a bit of a betrayal, you know, for this, especially should this follow any deeper precedents. You're essentially saying you can't use the Alien Enemies Act to get rid of alien enemies. You have to assume a number of things here. If it's humanitarian ideals, etc. You know, they're saying due process, for God's sake. That doesn't even make sense. That's just someone feeling bad for these people. It's not about emotion. This is about an existential crisis for the country. Okay? And when it comes down to tyranny, tyranny. Well, it seems to be like either you get the tyranny of the Supreme Court and the people who will force these immigrants in and change America, etc., or you get the so-called tyranny of a Trump presidency. He was voted in by a lot of people, but whatever. The tyranny of the Trump presidency. Call it what you want. How long do you have to be in the constraints of people who created those constraints to constrain you? So, yeah, just how long do you have to do that? Because them's the rules. What did I want to say about this? You know, moving on here, I got to show you this clip, though, and I want to get to calls, 888-775-3773. I think I have an interesting call here. Don't go anywhere. You know, this clip is going around of Hillary Clinton. You know, just like I mentioned with William, revelatory moment, right? Mask off moment. Oh, we just want an America that's strong and healthy and populous. All right, well, how about we just have more babies here? Hillary Clinton slammed Trump for insisting that Americans have more kids, arguing that's what immigrants are for. Check this out.
As I posted the other day, this very blatant effort to basically send a message, most exemplified by Vance and Musk and others, that, you know, what we really need from you women are more children. And what that really means is you should go back to doing what you were born to do, which is to produce more children. And they're talking about, you know, cash benefits for the more children you have. This has been tried, by the way, in other countries, and it has not worked. Or medals if you have 6 children. While they're contemplating
just poo-pooing. It doesn't work, okay? We tried making them have more babies.
cutting.
Just poo-pooing. Did you really try? Has anybody even really tried that? You know, in a world that where it's just common to hate, right? It's just like sanctioned by the corporations and governments of the world to be against men. You know, it's just examples of beta males run by women in all levels of the government. But we did a little bit of work, right? We said, hey, we'll give you some money and tax benefits if you have babies. And you want to say we tried that? Come on, you cynic.
Medicaid, while they have no interest in paid family leave or funding quality child care. They're cutting Head Start. I mean, you go down the list of all the programs that's...
People in my chat are saying Hitler wanted this? What is this? What's wrong with Hillary Clinton, you Nazi? You want... Oh, wait, sorry, no. I may be misunderstanding the chat, but...
leave or funding quality child care. They're cutting Head Start. I mean, you go down the list of all the programs that support child rearing and the care of children and create, you know, some safety net for women who are in the workforce, the formal workforce, as well as, you know, raising children. So this is another performance about concerns they allegedly have for family life. But if you had read the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, despite Trump saying he knew nothing about it, if you had read it, it's all in there. It's all in there. Return to the family, the nuclear family, return to being a Christian nation.
Oh, no.
Return to, you know, producing a lot of children.
Scary. They say all that? They say that?
Which is sort of odd because the people who produce the most children in our country are immigrants, and they want to deport them. So none of this adds up. But
kind of a little different than whatever this person posted, arguing that's what immigrants are for. Yeah, no, that is what she's saying. You know, those immigrants are having all the babies. So these weirdo right-wing Republicans, they want to make women have babies. You see what they want you to do, women? You. That's so disgusting. These disgusting men, these MAGA men, these maggots. They want you have your cushy little life, white woman. Allow me to get racial here for a moment, but understand, see right through it. You white woman, you enjoying your life here, and they want to make you have babies. That's what the brown women are for. Okay, that's okay. White women, you can enjoy your things and your margaritas. Okay, this is insane, okay? These people want us out of our pantsuits, and I'm having tea time. Do they have tea time? What do these rich women do? I don't know. They want us to have our lives, okay? Bill, okay, I'm here doing this with a microphone, and they want us to have babies, these ridiculous people. That's what the brown women are for. That's what these brown women are for. Wow, Hillary Clinton. I'd say Hillary Clinton, look, you're mistaken, and it's not because, how do I put this? I mean, it's just, it's you don't want those brown women having the babies. Allow me to get into
it's all in there. Return to...
You get this, right? Do you need any more Clinton here? You get it. Did she say everything she had to say?
And undocumented, who...
You get it. She had what she had to say. But, therein lies the mistake, the fatal flaw, Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Therein lies the fatal flaw. Here's basically the controversial, like the thing about it. On fairness, on all this stuff, because immigration, a successful immigration policy is not about finding the exceptions to the rule. Oh, some of those people might be fine people. It is about, besides that, right, because the argument is about economics, right? Making sure that they can bring something to the country. In my mind, that's really the only successful immigration policy in finding an exception in anybody out there in the world. It's will they be economically positive, right, in a significant way. So besides that, a successful policy about that has very little to do with if someone is a good person or anything like that, and has in fact And demographics is, in fact, a very important. And if you ask me, personally, for me, it's important because of evidence from what I've seen. What is it that I've seen? What am I getting at? The vast majority of non-white immigrants and people that are not white vote wrong, don't have the interest for America, have a racial gripe. You understand? Demographics is not only a pertinent, on the table factoid, it's in fact a fine argument. Okay, this isn't about letting some in, because now I'm talking about white minorities. Okay, and America becoming a white minority. The biggest issue is the demographic loss of white people, and bringing in the South Africans, by the way, is like an outward show that you're against this hypocritical world that will call anybody a refugee. All for what? For the core reason to go against white people, to replace them, to undo America for their own, for whatever they want to carve out, for their Mexico, Islam, whatever. That is at the core. And so letting in the South Africans is a show against that world who's saying, hey, just be fair. But they're not being fair. They want to destroy the white world. And so, and that's the funny thing about letting in the 59. It's simply a show. We don't even know how deep that goes. Let's be real. The vast majority of politicians in the right wing say things like, we have to make it safe. I think Tom Homan, and I like him. I like what the Trump administration is doing. I'm watching. I'm loving it. But this is how they speak. Tom Homan the other day was like, we have to make it safe for the legal immigrants or something like that. It's like that's how they talk. So it's not even that deep. But what's deep about the situation is that on a measly 59 people that came in, that's not even that big of a show, because let's be real, are they really going to finally demographically protect America? If you ask me, part of me kind of actually believes it. Like I look at J.D. Vance, Trump, tell me where I'm wrong. If I'm coping, I'm thinking they actually do kind of get it. That being said, on the measly 59 that were let in, it's like, you got to be fair. What's going on? Mask off, honestly. My mind is now stabbing me. I'm not even talking about Joel. My mind's stabbing me right now. Like, I'm thinking about something else. But anyways, that's the point. You get it. I want to get to calls here. It's the biggest issue here. Anyways, let's get to more calls here. We got Karen out of Virginia. How you doing, Karen? Appreciate your call. First time caller.
Hi. Hi.
Hey, Karen, I hear my voice in the background. Can you mute the show?
Oh. Here, let me pause the show.
Thank you.
Okay, how's that?
How you doing, Karen? Appreciate you calling the show. Go ahead.
I don't know if Anchor Baby should take my call, because I called in to talk about MS-13 in my area of Virginia, which is very bad here.
Cool. I mean, not cool, but you called in to talk about that. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, it's kind of a dark topic, and
yeah,
if he's up for it, I'm here to talk.
I'm here for it. You're saying you're in Virginia and MS-13 is an issue.
It's been a huge issue for the past 15 years since I work here, live here, and pay taxes. And that guy, Kilmore Garcia, in Maryland, is part of the cartel that encompasses the area that I live in, and it all surrounds the District of Columbia, and I'm sick of it. Okay.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people are.
There's a lot of money, like.
We still got you there, Karen?
Yep.
You said there's a lot of what?
Corruption,
money. You know, I really personally don't know. That's not something I looked into like that. But my mind does go there. You know, these cartels, they
It's
make all
bad.
this money.
They don't report it in the media. MS-13 works like they go for like young girls and they throw them in the park 5 miles from my house.
And some say there are some academics out there who say things like a criminal element does bring, you know, money to an economy. So there are people out there
our
who
politicians are running on this money.
You said your towns are running on this money?
Our politicians are running on this money. The only reason the politicians went down to El Salvador was because they're being paid by the drug cartels. It's really bad.
You're saying the politicians that went to show face for like Kilmar and all that, saying that they should be brought back, those people are getting paid by the cartel?
Yeah, by MS-13.
Is that like speculation or something you know about?
I know.
It's in the news. We could check it out.
Nothing in the news is real. I'm telling you firsthand. I live here.
No, hey, fair enough. Karen, appreciate that
I'm
your
telling
commentary
you,
on that.
I mean,
No,
I don't
I'm taking it in. No problem at all.
To say this stuff, but
My mind goes there too. My mind goes there too. Now I'm just trying to be accurate on what's speculation, what's the news. That's all I'm doing here. But mine goes there too. You know, these cartels.
The
there's
news
just so
said
much
Joe
money.
Biden didn't have dementia. Do you believe that?
About Biden having dementia?
No, the news said Joe Biden had a clear mind.
I know they did say that. I don't know if I quite believe them when they say that.
I hope you didn't.
It's not. I'll be. You know why I said quite? Now maybe this is like conspiratory brain, and I'm totally wrong for this. But there was one part way in the back that I reserved that it's like, wait, hold up. That's the extra level game playing here. So he looks demented, but that's crazy. Anyways, yeah, I no, they tried to tell us he had no problems, and then started coming out saying, oh, he's sick and he actually does have problems. So no, I don't trust him.
They lied. He actually had prostate cancer, and he told people, and then they said, well, he's so demented, you can't believe that he said that he had prostate cancer. It was a mess. And what happened was, like, we had a real puppet monarchy the whole time, and we don't know who is running the auto pen. We don't know that.
The auto pen president, like Trump was saying, right? Auto pen. You know, you bring up an interesting thing about the whole Joe Biden thing, and I personally don't know, but all these doctors are saying they're all going on the internet. And they're saying, "Hey, I'm a doctor and I know about this stuff and this kind of stuff." They didn't just catch it; they knew. That's the speculation. I personally don't know, but they're saying they knew. But you got to consider for a moment if that's true, just the nasty world. I mean, people already know this. But this should be further reason why you shouldn't get so into, especially not politics. You can pay attention and all that, but politics is not about truth. It's about ego and conquest and the darkness of a party that's like, okay, we got to run him like this, even though he's sick. I don't know what plans they had. It makes me think of Tim Walz. Weren't they saying his son was like developmentally disabled? Weren't they saying that he has like mental issues?
Everything about that guy is fake.
But the point is I don't think he did, but they let the public think that for brownie points. It's like, what a dark world, just for votes, for conquest. They'll sacrifice anyone.
That's why Jesse says, stop the show, get out of the show. Everything is the show. Unless you identify as a person with scruples and morals and truth. And good luck if you do, you know.
Well, appreciate your call, Karen. The first time on my show. Call me again.
Okay. All right.
Take care. And one last call here in the last few minutes. Oh, David. Man, honestly, I probably shouldn't have even taken your call. 60 seconds, man. We got to set up for Punchy.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. We'll touch base later.
Call me again, David.
Fun fact.
Go ahead.
Fun fact, real quick. The black population in the United States, roughly 13%. The population worldwide of the whites, 10 to 15% worldwide.
So you're saying white people are the N-words of the world?
No, I'm not. Well, I didn't say that, but
Like
I am
Yoko
saying that
Ono said,
we are the minority of the world.
Like Yoko Ono said, woman is the N-word of the world. She was wrong. It's the white man. The white man is the N-word of the world. You've heard it here first, folks, from David out of Texas. I hear you, man. Hey.
All right, sir, Nick. We'll talk to you later, buddy. You have a good night.
We'll do. All right, folks. That's it from me. Take care. We got Punchy coming in. Punchy TV. New episode. Don't miss it. Punchy TV on YouTube. Punchy.tv. But that's it, folks. Well, thanks for all the support, super chats, the calls, the topics, and everything. I'm back tomorrow. We got Carver with the super chat. Hold on. We don't want to debate. We want a cooking stream. Carver always reminded me, such amazing ideas. What am I doing? I think we got the show kind of situated, right? Feeling pretty natural, loosey-goosey on the show, confident. We might have to start putting some real time onto the extras. You know, I tried, for example, this past Friday stream, it's just like, I have not worked on that stream since the last Friday. So I really got to like, not just mess with it and just kind of like really make it work. Cause I'm like, okay, the next Friday comes around, I'm like, let's go IRL. I have not worked on the setup since the last Friday, right? So folks, I hope you've been enjoying the show. Take care. I'm back tomorrow. That's it from me. Goodbye for real this time. Peace. Bye.